You know me.
Hey, what's up, John? How you doing? If we were to, this is probably going to be on YouTube. Instantly, we can't monetize this shit because I don't know, something about the cursing in the first few minutes. But you know what?
True.
You know what, y'all? Fuck that. I don't give a fuck.
Okay. I was going to change it and be like, welcome to the Frackin' Free Ballers podcast or something like that.
No. How about this? Fuck. Shit. Fuck.
Whoa. George
This
Carlin
is for
over
adults.
here.
Yeah, this is for adults. I'm so sorry if you had children listening. Don't ever say those words if you're a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it started like 12 or something. I mean, you know.
Man, when I was in literal preschool, me and my best friend Adam, you know that playground thing that it's kind of like just a little tube. It's like the shortest little tube. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a little tube. And
is it just sitting on the ground sideways and you just crawl through it?
Yes. And you can just crawl through it. And then it's not even that long. It might be like, I don't know, 4 feet long. And that seems big. Like that's how it felt in my mind as a kid. So in reality, It's probably even small. It's probably like a foot long tube or something that you could just go through. Me and my friend Adam used to go in the tube and just be like, yo, and like, yeah, what's up? Guess what? You know, fuck. Like, because no one could hear us in there, you know, so we just go in that little tube and just be like, shit. And just practice all of our curse words, you know, to make sure that we had them right.
Y'all are like laying on your stomachs, and you know, it's just that you're just your legs from the knee down are like doing that swingy
exposed
thing
outside. Yeah. Because we had to block the entrance, you know.
Of course.
It's like BFFs only in this bitch. Yeah.
And it's such a small tube, and with two kids can't like fit in there like on top of each other even.
No.
So, you know.
No. Yeah.
I remember when I moved from Connecticut down to Florida, I was going from 2nd to 3rd grade, and then like I guess like there's just no cursing in Connecticut schools or something, or the kids are just classier up there or something.
I mean,
but like
most schools you can't.
That's true. but when I moved, but I don't remember any kid like cursing in like 2nd grade. But then when I started school in Florida in the 3rd grade, kids were like secretly being like, "Fuck," and I was like, "Whoa, you're just saying fuck out loud," and it's like you just said it too. I'm like, "Oh fuck," and it was just like you know. I was like, damn, man, that's where I just started down a bad path.
Yeah, I will say that this school I'm talking about, this was in Ohio. So
okay,
just to give you some perspective.
I wonder what your friend is doing now.
I know that was a thought that crossed my mind when I said that, and something that I felt deeply was like, it's probably not good. It's probably not good. Like, I'm just going to reserve why I feel that way, but I hope he's doing good, but probably not.
His kids are probably going to listen to this podcast and then they'll start cursing. And because they heard me curse right at the very beginning.
Yeah. Statistically, like just probably not, man. Like it was kind of rough. Not going to lie.
Preschool, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, okay, just because I got into it, I might as well say why. Like, why I feel this way. His mother went to prison when we were in preschool, and this is my dog. You know what I mean? And so my mom comes to pick me up from school like every day in preschool, and I told everyone that she wasn't my real mom. That my mom went to prison too. Like, I was trying to like vibe with my dog, like, and so he wouldn't feel, you know, like fucked up about what happened. And I was just like, yeah, like that's not my mom. Like my mom went to prison too. This is like just my nanny or some shit. Like I don't know what I said. I was literally like 3 or some shit. Like who knows?
You were like a saint of a 3-year-old.
Yeah, this is a story that I wouldn't have known, you know, like unless my mom told me, like my mom told me about this story. But
damn, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So because of that, that's why our podcast can't make any money on YouTube because we curse too
And
much.
that's what's going on in the NBA, folks. We'll see you later.
Yeah, good episode, man. Shit. Fuck.
Speaking of jail time, Ja Morant. I mean,
oh god,
what can I say?
Yeah. Did you see how he like the way he held that gun in the video, like
To
if
the side of his face?
Well, kind of like you ever like try to pick something up that's really nasty that you don't want to pick up? You know,
sure,
like
yeah. Do a little
like
two-finger thing.
Yeah, like just like a piece of, I don't even know what it is that you would pick up, just something disgusting, you know? Yeah, and he's got like the pinky out. Yeah, and he's like holding it and like dangling it. Like that's the way he picked it up, which like props to him for iconically portraying holding a gun in a brand new way that I've never seen in my life. Like I've never seen anybody do that ever.
I'm pretty sure they tell you're not supposed to hold a gun that way.
Yeah,
like gun safety. That you have to like have like one hand on it firmly, the safety on, no finger on the trigger, all that stuff. Like you can't be holding it like it's like it's a
like
baby's
a used
diaper.
Condom or something. Yeah. That's like what it felt like to me.
What if Ja Morant holds used condoms like with his whole fist, like he just squeezes it like a weirdo? Oh, sorry,
gross. That fucking bad trigger discipline.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But no, but man, it's fucked up. It's not like this is the first thing to happen. The funny part about that happening was, for me at least, was we had just had some snow up here in Detroit, and I went outside to shovel some snow at night because the Heat had just lost to the Knicks, which we'll talk about later. Like pain. I went outside in pure pain to shovel snow just to like let off some steam. So to speak. And I put, because it was a good game and I was hype as fuck, but they fucking lost. And so like I put some headphones on, went outside, did my, because it happened to be like a great time to go do the shoveling. And I was listening to an old podcast that was only like a few days old. Just a few days old, and it was I listened to happened to listen to KOC and Chris Vernon, the Mismatch podcast on the Ringer, Kevin O'Connor, and Kevin O'Connor was talking to Chris Vernon about Ja Morant because it was that day that a story had come out about a little bit more information about some of these things that had happened with him. So there was like a summertime incident where he had a basketball game at his house. And, if you're Ja Morant and you're having a basketball game at your house, this isn't just like the neighborhood kids at your house. Like these are ballers at your house. Yeah. And there was a 17-year-old. And he got into an altercation with this 17-year-old that resulted in him punching the kid.
Oh, Jesus.
And which I'm not even going to get into all the, like, people trying to say that this kid and his family is just trying to get money from him and all that. And Chris Vernon was like getting super defensive because he's a Memphis guy. And he was like trying to say like, oh, it's barely acceptable to call this kid a kid because he's so big and he's a basketball player and shit.
But he's 17.
But he's 17, my guy. And the fact stands that Ja Morant punched this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's bad either way.
Yeah, it's bad either way. And so he was kind of showing his ass. He was trying his hardest to vouch for his dude, which I understand that, and just loyalty. And like, he's trying to help the situation instead of like talk shit about this man. And I get that. And it was just so crazy that I'm out there shoveling snow. And I'm listening to Chris Vernon kind of like make an ass of himself, and Kevin O'Connor point out like, well, regardless of what you say, like this is a minor, and he punched this kid, and that these issues are bad. these things that are happening. Like the same report also said his John Morant's mom went to like the mall. Allegedly, all of this is alleged. Our whole podcast is alleged.
Copyright
2023.
We allege everything.
Yeah, like we barely exist. Everything we allegedly even are real people. This is all a work of fiction. Copyright 2023 Free Balls Podcast. Anyways, all rights reserved.
Actually, this voice you're hearing now is Alex, and the other voice is John. How do you like that?
Yeah, how do you like that? Yeah, how do you like that? How do you like that?
Yeah, but John's like, he's just toxic in general, right? Like, like he's just a guy like you probably shouldn't, like, that's a guy you shouldn't be hanging out with because he'll get you in trouble. He'll drag you down type of a thing.
It seems that way. It seems that way right now.
It does seem that way.
The whole reason they were talking about him is because the story came out. It mentioned more details about the incident with the 17-year-old basketball player that he punched in the face and then went into his house and came back with like a gun on his hip, like on some like, I'm going to intimidate you type shit. And then he told the police that the kid was the aggressor and that he hit the kid in self-defense. And then when they asked him, well, what did the kid do? The kid threw a ball at him. And he said that he considered that to be the first blow, basically.
I mean, Steven Adams throws a ball at him every day. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's man, I didn't hear that story. The one that I just recently, maybe you're going to say the same thing, but well, actually go ahead. Yeah, you take it.
So there's the story of that. Then because we heard about that, but then there was this article that came out recently giving more details to that subject, but then also that incident, but then also there was another incident where his mom was at the mall and she's at like a Finish Line shoe store and gets into an altercation at the store with the employees at the store, calls him. He shows up with like 10 people, including himself. And then they get into a huge fight and he's like threatening the security of the mall and allegedly telling them that like he'll be there when they get off work type shit, like a threat type of thing. And then on top of that, the Indiana Pacers have alleged that do you remember that game? There was a game where it was Grizzlies and the Pacers. Some of the Pacers players got into it with some of Ja Morant's entourage that were sitting in the crowd, including his father.
Was this the one where what's his name? Skip's sidekick was there on the sidelines? What's his name?
No, but that's even another one. That's another one. Shannon Sharpe, which Shannon Sharpe. Yeah, that's that's another one even. And like maybe if that was the same game, then that's just nuts. But I feel like that's a separate incident. But
I thought that was a Pacers game, and or no, that might have been a Lakers game. I feel. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, it
was a Lakers game. It was a Lakers game. Yeah, but no, that is yet another incident where like it's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, this is basketball. Like Shannon Sharpe also behaved poorly, I felt.
He did.
But he made up for it in his statement afterwards. I don't know. I would direct anyone towards what he had to say about it to go watch that video, because this was like a month ago or more, and it is super relevant to what is currently happening with this man. But what I was talking about is Pacers staff members allege that they were, after that game, not the Shannon Sharpe game, but Grizzlies Pacers game in which an altercation took place, that the Pacers are like going all into their bus and shit, and a fucking car was outside pointing like a laser at them from inside the car,
like a gun sight.
Yes. Like the Pacers staff members alleged that like, yo, this is definitely a gun. You know what I mean? And it was on some like, and it was on some like intimidation type shit. And that's why this story that had come out was so juicy. And like that's what the whole reason Kevin O'Connor and Chris Vernon weren't even talking about it. And so I'm shoveling snow and I'm listening to them talk about this. And Chris Vernon, bless his heart, I like him. He's so loyal to Memphis and all that. You know, he's trying to make the better of it, but he's digging a hole just much like how I'm poorly shoveling snow. And like fucking that was kind of a big deal to me, considering I can't think of too many players in my lifetime that I've heard such stories about. And then so here's the timeline, right? So that's happening. Then the very next day they have a game against the Nuggets, and this is a big game. I am just chilling right now, watching basketball like every day. This is a game I'm looking forward to. We're talking about the best two teams in the Western Conference are about to face off. We got Nikola Jokic versus Ja Morant. You know, like this is gonna be awesome.
Prime time.
Guess what happened? Jokic and the Nuggets, they beat him. Right? So the Grizzlies lose. So I just learned recently. I forget. I wish I could source this. I'm sorry, y'all. I let y'all down on this part, but this is the story. There was a players only meeting that night.
This is what I was going to say. Yeah.
Go ahead. You take it away.
I'm talking. No. Well, I was going to say, I just learned about it today. Is literally the night of the gun incident. The night that he was on, what was it, Instagram, showing off his gun from a club.
Yeah.
They literally had a players only meeting before or earlier that day, talking about how they need to start handling their off the court activities and how they need to start kind of reining it in a little bit. And literally that night, he puts himself on Instagram with his gun, holding it with the 2-finger wet sock hand. Against his face.
Yes, like that's so crazy to me. The same night that they have a players only meeting, and so here's a couple of interesting parts about the whole situation. Like you know, Ja Morant's not the, what is he, like 22, 23? He's 23.
Yeah.
When you're 23, you do stupid shit. I'm sorry to all 23-year-olds listening, but y'all are dumb sometimes. I was 23 before and was equally as dumb as y'all.
Same.
It's just how it is. There's a thing with teams right now in the league, like the past, I don't know, decade or more. There's players like DeMarcus Cousins who commented on this, or like Carmelo Anthony, Paul Pierce, like just our other players. Well, not Paul Pierce in this particular subject, but
you're saying players that are currently in the NBA, or
no? That could be.
Okay.
Yeah, that aren't, because teams value, they're prioritizing, like, you know, like it's rare that a team would waste like a roster spot on Udonis Haslem all these years, but not just sign another prospect, like another young player who could put, you know what I mean? And DeMarcus Cousins spoke on this a little bit about the value of veteran players. And he was basically trying to say that if they had a vet in that locker room, that some of these things wouldn't be happening. And the Grizzlies are the only team in the NBA that don't have anyone 30 or older. There's literally nobody even just 30 years old on the team.
Really?
Yes, and the oldest guy that they have is Steven Adams, and he's like 29 going on 30, and he is the one who spoke up in that players only meeting to say, and allegedly he didn't even name him by name, but they are the second best record-wise team in the West. They have a chance to win the NBA championship this year, realistically, and their road record is nowhere near as good as their home record. And he was pointing that out, and he called out the players, and he was like, I think we need to like take we need to take our road trips more seriously and like not go out and wild out and shit. And according to the story, the players understood that the person he was talking about specifically was John Morant, you know, and he didn't actually have to say his name. And so for him to do what he did, that was the same night that happened. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So Steven Adams tried to help this man. He was actively like, yo, you got to tighten up. Like, you're wilding. And the same night, almost like in direct defiance, you know, he does the whole use condom gun thing on his thing.
You know, the interesting thing about this whole thing for me is that it totally changes. It totally does a 180 of my view on John Morant. Like, I typically look at the NBA with rose-colored glasses on. Like, I typically just think the best of most of these guys. Like, I know, but deep down, I know that, like, you know, they're cheating on their wives, they're doing all sorts of stuff off the court that they probably, you know, it's immoral, you know, however you want to, whatever side you want to take on that. But John Morant, I had in my mind as just being like he's fun to watch, he's exciting, he's super athletic, he's probably one of the top, as far as just skill wise, he's one of the top 10 players in the NBA right now, and I just had this feeling that he was more of he just had good behavior off the court. You know, I know there was, but then recently the Shannon Sharp thing was like, oh, okay, maybe there's a little bit of fire there, but whatever. But now, like, the gun at the club, like, man, that's rough. And the thing I can't figure out is, like, so was he doing something? I'm a little confused because I'm still playing a little catch up on this. Is it illegal in the state that he was in to have a gun in the club?
Okay, so there's so many ramifications of this. So, like, the police are now looking into it because they wouldn't have if he simply just did not post this video. Like, I'm not even John Morant, and I never go on IG Live, right? Yeah. Like, and if I did, I wouldn't directly immediately incriminate myself.
Yeah.
Like, and he's old enough to fucking know that that's stupid as fuck. I'm sorry, but he's old enough to know that, right?
Even at 23. Yeah.
But anyways, if I understand this correctly, in their state or municipality, where the fuck this happened, Tennessee? In Colorado, in Colorado, okay. You can't have a gun you can't possess a gun like under the influence of alcohol, as well as like in a public situation like that, like in a business like that, something like that.
That's reasonable.
Something, yeah, exactly. Some reasonable shit along those lines. And the police are now looking into that. But more important than that, hilariously to me, which realistically it's not, but to me it is. In the collective bargaining agreement between the players union and the NBA owners. I don't know if anyone out there listening remembers like Javaris Crittenton or Gilbert Arenas, some of these players who have brought in guns into the locker room or like a team situation. Sometimes the dudes just had them, like they didn't even do it on purpose. Gilbert Arenas actually had it on purpose. Like
he did. Yeah.
There's been players who just brought a gun accidentally because they just have guns like that. And been punished for this. And I recently learned that in the CBA, it's like a 50-game suspension if you bring a gun on like a team travel trip. And that was a road game. So now not only are the like local authorities looking into whether or not he was like following the law in the possession of that gun in that video, the NBA is also looking into it because how did he have the gun? That better be somebody else's gun, because if that's John Morant's actual gun in the video, and and if they can prove that he had it with him like via the team travel, then we're talking big time suspension. Like we're talking like championship determining factors here. Like they could win the chip and now he could be suspended to the point where their team is made irrelevant because he fucking dangled a gun like a used condom on his IG live. Like the night that the oldest guy on his team tried to talk some sense into him. Unbelievable. I don't know. It's crazy. He's a great player. He's probably like one of the most exciting players to watch play.
Sure. Yeah.
Love him on the court. And I just hope that I personally hope that he does get into at least some kind of significant punishment for this. Not because I'm hating, but because I do think that at his age, like I'm old enough to be wiser than this man, which is a weird feeling for me. But he needs to learn something from this. And I hope that he doesn't learn that he could just get away with anything he wants.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's the lesson you want for any 23-year-old, basically, right? Is to know that you can't just get away with anything you want. This is what standard. I mean, you're talking like a dad, basically, like talking to a kid,
Yeah. John Morant has me out here talking like a dad.
Yeah. Gilbert Arenas, by the way, it's funny you mentioned him. I haven't heard anything from him on this issue. He's been very quiet, which is kind of odd.
No, he spoke on it. He did.
Oh, he has. Okay. I had a feeling. Yeah. Paul Pierce, obviously, I heard about only because he defended John Morant, because we all know the famous story about Paul Pierce getting stabbed while he was a player. And
I was not aware of this. So he defended him?
He defended John Morant because he said, look, I understand why somebody would feel they need protection. Now, the thing about former Celtics players from the 2008 season is they pop off and say dumb shit. Kendrick Perkins is one of them. Paul Pierce I don't like watching Paul Pierce now and the stuff he does, because it makes me
a little
understand
cringe.
That he's not a little cringe. He's not too bright, but he's still one of my favorite players all time.
Still the truth.
Yeah. Still the truth. Yeah.
Relevant experience. He knows more about this than we do. That's for sure.
He does. Yeah. He was staff. For those who don't know the story, in one of his seasons, like back when the Celtics, I think, were still kind of bad, but they were, he got stabbed, I think, outside of a nightclub, if I remember correctly. The reason the story is normally told is because he finished out the season and it showed how tough NBA players were back in that day. But he said basically on Twitter or something, that he understands why an NBA player would want to carry protection around. Now I see it from that point of view, but I just don't know if that's why he has the gun. It looks to me like he's just kind of flexing, like, hey, I've got a gun. Look at me, I'm John Morant. Does he really need it for protection though?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I'm myself personally, I'm super anti-gun. I've gotten to know a bunch of gun people, and I'm open-minded. I'm not like some person that's just going to shit on people's beliefs. I've literally went with these people and shot guns and stuff like that, to fully understand what we're talking about. I'll tell you this, Paul Pierce wasn't taking photos with guns. You know what I mean? He wasn't he wasn't glorifying the gun shit. Not to mention, man, anyone needs to just go listen to Shannon Sharp's little comment he made, because it was so long ago now, and so many developments have happened since then that I feel like people may forget what he said. But I think it was spot on in that, basically it's bro, first of all, you did not come from the type of hardship where you would need to have a gun.
Right.
He has a good family. Lots of Twitter jokes about Clarence from the 8 Mile movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got good parents and shit, and a gated community, and they raised him right. And then it's even if you did come from bad neighborhood or somewhere where you might need a gun to protect yourself, or regardless of if you even have an opinion on that, you're going to be around it because you're suffering from that just being there. Why he's John Morant now, he's a multi-million-dollar, just his own self. He's not a businessman, he's a businessman. You know what I mean? He could be the face of that league. He could be a billionaire. Yeah. Think about how LeBron is a billionaire, and inflation and the progression of society and money and shit. One day he could be a billionaire, realistically, and that's not even crazy to say.
No.
So why would you try to, it's like he's posing or something, trying to prove that he's hard or something, when it's like, bro, the real people who go through those things, they don't go through those things because it's fun or cool or they want to. It's a fact of life that's shitty and they're trying their hardest to escape. And once they make it out, they've made it, and it's like now they can live like a good life. And so that kind of shits on people who do have guns on them for reasons like who wish that they didn't have to have one. You know what I mean? Like people
Agreed.
who have one on them every day that wish that they didn't have to have one.
Interesting way to look at it. Yeah, I didn't really think about it from that point of view, in that he's sort of posing, right? Like he's a poser. Yeah, and he's asking for smoke that he doesn't want, to be very honest. Like
that he doesn't need.
And doesn't need. Yeah. And by the way, when you make the NBA and you're an all-star caliber player in the NBA, you don't need to prove that you're a badass. Like you're there. You did it. Like I get it. You're already way cooler than most people in the world. Like it's awesome. You're a rock star. As far as you and I are concerned, guys in the NBA are rock stars to us, right?
Hell yeah. We're literally just talking about them all the time. That's
exactly. We're wasting a half hour of our day just chatting about them. But I'm not wasting. I shouldn't even say that. But it's, look, this man's been to college. This man plays one of the most exciting sports in the world at the absolute highest level. He could, there's just he could win a chip. He's one of the best in the sport. Like you have nothing else to prove, man. Just go hard. Like you have one life. Just milk the hell out of this NBA time that you have, and don't make
dumb mistakes. Dude. Yeah, you made it. Like you made it past the point to where you need to be dangling a gun. Like there's even rappers who rap about this shit that I've never seen dangle a gun in their video because they have other people to do that shit for them.
Yes.
Not you. Not you. Like you need to protect yourself and your image and your much less, you just don't even need, there's no need for that. Like, so the only reason he would be doing that would just be like a want, of just wanting to like seem hard or something. And it's like, I think he deserves every bit of what's happening right now. And I honestly worry that whatever happens, it won't be enough to teach him.
You never know. You never know. Because the punishment hasn't been handed down yet, but yeah,
that's true.
But you never know. Yeah. So
I hope so.
Same.
So.
Yeah. No, I hope that they hand down like a hefty punishment. I'm optimistic, but again, things happen that make me more of a pessimist. But I think Adam Silver will really, really, really hammer down on them a little bit. But then again, after you had me listen to that podcast. Oh, and also that documentary about the referees and stuff that were rigging games and stuff back in the day. Sure. Like, man, my rose-colored glasses, I got to take them off, and just be like, well, maybe he'll get like a week suspension or something, and that's WEAK or WEEK. And then it'll just be all over. I mean, people will forget about it, especially if he comes back quick. If he stays out long, then I feel like it won't get forgotten. So I think they're looking at it from that point of view. But I don't know. But like you said, if there's legal ramifications, it could be. I mean, it could be huge.
Yeah, it could be very huge. He is young enough to where I will give him this pass of like that. You're young and stupid and. When I mentioned how they don't have any vets on the team older than Steven Adams, and he's like 29, and even Steven Adams has tried to like talk some sense into him. And the very night he talked about this, that's the night we're talking about. All that, but I said all that, but at the same time too. This dude has like multi-million-dollar contracts with like Nike, Powerade, the NBA. Like he has an agent. He's had to be in some serious discussions, at this point in his life. He's he's 23. He's a fucking man. Like, he's an adult. He knows damn well that that's stupid. Derek Favors tweeted on Twitter, former, damn, it feels weird to say. I don't think he's on any team right now.
Yeah, but I know.
On this issue, he simply tweeted, "It's okay to be a basketball player," because and I interpreted that as like he's looking at John Morant like he wants to be like NBA YoungBoy or some shit. Like he's trying to be like a fucking like he thinks he's not cool enough. Yeah, and he's trying to be like more cool. And
there are like, so many people.
John Morant, bro.
There's so many people that wish they could have what he has without the gun. Like just a guy with insane athletic ability that is in the NBA, best player on his team. Team could win the chip this year. Like he's at his all-time height. Like he doesn't have to do anything else, and people will love him. That's it.
Bro, he should have been dangling like a beignet or some shit, or like a hot dog, like a different type of glizzy.
Well, shit, like, he's in Memphis. Like, just hold up some like wings or something, like, or just dangle barbecue. Or, I don't know, like
fried pickles or some shit.
Yeah. Actually, a pickle is another thing you would hold the same way he held the gun. To be honest, like a little pickle slice, little 2-finger action. Just on a quick side note, like big picture stuff. Like this is part of the problem with social media. I feel is that not only are we seeing this stuff, social media makes people have to like show off everything that they have. It's at the end of the day, it's still his fault. But like, if there wasn't an Instagram Live or an Instagram, I know I sound like a grandpa here, but like he probably wouldn't have behaved that way, to be honest. So, but who's to say?
True. Like the current culture we have of like, hey, everybody, look at me. So this dude is saying
like, kids these days, you know what I mean? Is what I'm saying.
This man is like, he just got whooped up by the Nuggets, and he's in a strip club in fucking a town it's not even Denver. It's like some town I never heard of outside of Denver. Yeah, it's like a suburb of Denver. And having just lost, he's probably sitting in there, and he literally is like feeling the pressure of like, I gotta be cool still. You know what I mean? He's like, fuck, I lost. All right, let me show everybody that I got this gun. Or something, you know what I mean? I'm just like spitballing here, but like,
makes you sick.
Just it's just silly. It's just silly. It's like, bro, relax, man. Like,
and at the same time, I just recently watched the Bill Russell documentary on Netflix.
This man, like, love that shit.
It's great. This man like totally went through like racial slurs and shit getting thrown at him. Like, and he didn't like, wave a gun around or anything like that. Probably because back in those days, they didn't allow black people to buy guns, probably. But either way, the thing is, he responded differently to adversity.
Yeah, no, like, Bill Russell was dealing with like real shit.
Shit. Yeah, John Morant is like trying to like tell you he's dealing with shit, but he's not really.
No. Yeah. I guess in summation, he's stupid as hell. I think he needs to be held accountable for his own sake. I think that something needs to happen at the very least for this young man to not go astray, because he's super talented and he means a lot to what we love, which is basketball. And I want to see this dude more. And currently his behavior is like leading him down a path where we may have seen the last of him, even, as dramatic as that sounds.
Famous last words.
Sometimes people be wilding out. And at such a young age, like I think it's still even though I think he deserves to be held accountable, he still has time to be held accountable and recover from that and be the person that we want him to be, like that he deserves to be, that he could be. So, I hope that's how it ends. But
if he takes his lumps and just like attacks this head on and just like apologizes and does what he has to do to Memphis, to the NBA, to his fans, we can get over this like pretty quickly, to be very honest. I think, especially because it's like brand new news.
So John Morant goes and does this on a night where you got number 1 and number 2 in the West competing, with his team being number 2 against the number 1 Nuggets in Denver, and they lost. They lost, which is something that has happened to a lot of teams that try to play Denver, in large part because of Nikola Jokic, back-to-back NBA MVP, looking a hell of a lot like he's going to be 3-time in a row MVP.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on MVP? Do you think that who's your MVP?
I'm a little biased because they've just now started talking about Jason Tatum having MVP aspirations.
He has a case.
He has a case. Yeah, he's playing well. Like, if you look at like certain numbers, you can say, yeah, for sure. And plus, the Celtics are at the top of the East again, so you're just like, okay, he has a case. He's improved a lot of things defense wise and stuff, but he typically gets overlooked, and which I guess I kind of understand. I don't know why, but compared to Jokic, I mean, if Jokic wins it, I'm not gonna be upset, because the proof is not only in the number, like it's not only on the stat sheet, it's when you're watching the game too. Like you see why he's an MVP candidate. This amazing stuff he does on the court.
Dare I say, it is also in the pudding, which I'm sure Jokic knows a lot about pudding.
The man's a fan of pudding, and honestly, who isn't? Yeah. Which is weird because in his country, I feel like pudding is like a delicacy or something. Like mostly they just have like, I don't know.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Whoa.
Too much? Too far?
Yeah, shit.
Start an international incident there.
That's actually, you raise a good point that makes me that gives me a thought that I didn't have this entire time, which is like I don't know if this is just too simple or what, but since I was a kid, my idea of like, what is the MVP? How do you become MVP? To me, it is the best player on the best team. To me. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're okay. So because it's like, if you take that guy away, that team wouldn't be the best team. You know what I mean? And so hence he's the most valuable on the bet. He's the guy on the best team that's making them what they are. And what you just said actually made me think about like how fucked up it is that like this whole weird argument about Jokic and race and like blah blah, all that. Like it's basically turned into a polarizing discussion of like you're either pro or anti Nikola Jokic, and I think that discussion is super unfair to Jason Tatum. Super unfair, and I never thought about that until just now, because I don't really hear him come up in any of this. It's always Jokic, and then it's like, like Embiid deserves it. Embiid deserves it more than him, or Giannis. Like Giannis deserves it more than him. And I understand all the cases for all three of those guys are very strong. But I don't really hear as much of a strong case for Tatum yet. I think he has like the most points and the most minutes played of any of those players. Like, and then it's like, come on, man. Like, you're telling me that if he's not on the team that they're going to be just as good? Like, hell no. Like Jason Tatum is a big part of the Celtics success. And I just think it would be really funny if after all this argument and Jokic doesn't deserve it because everyone just wants to pick him because he's white, which by the way, I do think he is the clear cut MVP.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with the color of his skin.
It has nothing to do with the color of his skin.
I'm a Heat fan. I don't know if y'all remember last season when the Markieff Morris thing happened.
Yeah.
We're not exactly pro Jokic, and I'm sitting here telling you that I'm pretty sure this man's the MVP. Like I just think it would be so funny if the season ends and the Celtics have the best record and Jason Tatum is the best player on the Celtics. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just I think
by your logic, then they'd have to, by your definition of what an MVP is, they should, if that happens that way, you're saying he should get it. That's what you're saying.
I guess, but like I guess I'm just saying that's always been a factor. Like, sure, the best player on the best team doesn't always win because sometimes it's ridiculous where there's someone a lot better than them. Like last year with Jokic, like I think they were like fourth or some shit like that, and he won MVP. But because of his ridiculous performance, but Kendrick Perkins bringing up like that Larry Bird and Steve Nash won back-to-back MVPs, and what do they have in common or whatever. Like, I just think that's so ridiculous. And like Charles Barkley has come out and said that's fucking stupid. JJ Redick tried to talk some sense into him on TV today, and they got into like a huge literal argument on TV. That doesn't even come to mind for me, like when I think of MVPs, because I mean, shit, those are the only white MVPs I could even think of. Like, you know what I mean? Shit just doesn't happen really.
Yeah.
I will give him that sometimes when these debates take place, the white people who are like voices in this discussion tend to,
there are a lot.
There is a weird, like every now and then, like a weird support for someone, you know, which is just like you're gonna support. I don't know how to say it really properly.
No, I know what you're saying. It's a weird. There's like the white voice will all of a sudden have like actually I'm gonna throw my vote in for this guy, and you're like, well, why
Tyler Hero is MVP.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, well,
whoa.
You're like, well, he's not a bad player, but why him? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That being said, I don't think I've ever seen that happen, honestly. Like back when Nash won his second MVP, I was fucking pissed because I thought that Shaq deserved it. When you look at the Miami Heat record the year prior and then the year that he joined the Heat, they were
never that simple. I find it's never that simple based on that. I mean, I see where you're coming from and I get that, but it's these MVP things are never that simple. Plus, I think sometimes they look at like how many MVPs does this guy have already? And they're like, okay, well, let's give it to somebody else. And it's like, okay, I get that part. Yeah.
That's what I think is happening. I think that because he won 2 in a row, which he never said I'm the MVP. I don't think he cares at all about this.
He doesn't. I literally just found a quote where he says, I'm not worried about it at all. I don't care. So, yeah.
Yeah. So because he won 2 in a row and people find that to be nuts, there's like a quote unquote voter fatigue. The same reason why Michael Jordan or LeBron or Kareem don't just have a million MVPs like every single year, because if we were going to be realistic, like LeBron would probably have like 7 or 8 MVPs, and so would Michael Jordan and Kareem and all these other guys. There's voter fatigue. Then there's like the way he looks and plays. He's a fat guy. He's white. He doesn't even dunk. Like all these things. He borderline looks like he doesn't even care. But if you're a person who loves basketball and watches basketball, man, it seems undeniable. Like as a Heat fan, I do not want him to be doing the things that he's doing when we play them. Like it fucking sucks.
I'm fully with you. Yeah. No, I totally get the, I mean, so here's so as far as Kendrick Perkins is concerned, completely, it's just a bad take. It's very simply just a bad take. And I think, think playing the race card is a little cheap to do sometimes. I don't like it at all. It's unfair to Jokic. It's unfair to previous people who have won the MVP. It's unfair to it's just unfair. Like the race card, you just got to be careful when you throw that out there. But that's a overall bigger issue than the NBA.
Yeah, it's a delicate thing you got to be careful with when you.
Yeah, and because he's the way he's wording it, it sounds like he's like, how come white guys always win the MVP? It's like, well, that's not necessarily even the case.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Let me just to be fair, he said the only 3 players to ever win the MVP without being top 10 in scoring are Dirk, Larry Bird, Dirk, Nash, and Jokic. And that's what sparked this whole thing. And the worst part about the whole thing of what he said is that it's not even true. Like Magic Johnson did it like multiple times.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, you don't like scoring isn't the most important thing in basketball. Like I hate to break
hence
it.
why Steve Nash won the MVP. Once.
Yeah. Hence why we're even listening to Kendrick Perkins. Because if it was, we wouldn't give a fuck about what he said. Because he
honestly, on a side note, I don't know why we're listening to Kendrick Perkins.
Good point. Good point.
Just bringing that up. I mean, he does have a ring, but like, I mean,
barely.
Yeah, barely.
It's Kevin Garnett's ring. That's
it's
Paul
Kevin
Pierce's
Garnett's ring. Yeah, and please, like, put Kevin Garnett on TV if we're gonna, instead of Kendrick Perkins for that matter. I'd much rather listen to him, anyways. But it's a bad take. He played the race card, which I know gets ratings, and so I think that's. I'm starting to have this thing that like Kendrick Perkins is just there because they know he'll say something dumb, and then it makes it. He's like clickbait, I guess, if that makes any sense. So he has a way of stepping in it, and then people click anyways just to see what he has to say. It's the same with like the show with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Like I feel
First Take, or whatever the fuck it's called.
I think you're right.
Shannon. Yeah. No, First Take is First Take is the fucking show Perk is on, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's what it is like Skip. You're a wrestling person. I don't know wrestling that well, but Skip plays the heel. He has the opinion that nobody likes and nobody agrees with, right? Shannon has the rational.
He's the baby face.
Yeah. Yeah. Shannon Sharp has like the rational like opinion that most people like understand and agree with. Skip just says stuff and it's like, whatever. All right. It's so, but there has to be that you have to put the heel on the TV sometimes and have them say something dumb or evil. And so then people can throw their hate at it and throw their whatever at it. If you think that they fully believe everything that they're saying, then, I think you're, of lesser intelligence than me.
It's true. It's true. I agree with you. And what's happening though is like, because MVP and these end of season awards, they're voted on, they're kind of subjective, when all we can do is hope that the people who have votes, which are largely like media members, that they vote in the health and spirit of the game, like, and what is true and pure to the game.
I would say that they do. On the whole, I would say
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. But I guess what it is like, it almost reminds me of like elections in America, where it's like bullshit starts to creep in, and you just hope that none of this influences a voter. You know what I mean? You don't want some media voter to not vote for who he felt was MVP because of this ridiculous discussion that came from, like, let's be honest, like ESPN and Skip on Fox and all these motherfuckers, they have been the shitty parts of basketball for a long time. Like they have been bad for a long time. I don't even think you and I would have this podcast if they were good, even. Like, no. I you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're so bad that regular dudes like us feel like we could come out here and do this shit.
Who have never played 1 minute of an NBA game. We just played like street ball after work with a bunch of buddies. Yeah. By the way, side note, I did a little quick math. Just looked up some stats and stuff. This should add to Jokic's MVP argument if you're pro him getting the MVP. This man, like, since he was drafted, like, he hardly misses games. He's been in the league since 2015-16. He's missed a total since 2015-16. He's missed a total of 36 games his whole life, his whole career. And the Nuggets are 14-22 in that time span. So, to your argument, they are a better team with him on the court. And also, I think another element that goes into MVP is like you have to play the games. Like you have to be available. On the court. You have to be available. Yeah. That's why Kawhi is, it's tough to make the case for him, right? Load management, all that stuff. So, that's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can argue with it. I mean, if he wins it, I will not be. I typically don't care who wins the MVP, to be very honest. But I know that a lot of people love to get into it by argument. I'm just a fan of my team winning. If somebody on my team wins, hey, that's great. All the more. If Tatum wins, I'll be super excited for him and everything. But at the end of the day, my thing is like Celtics winning a ring. That's what I watch the games for. That's it. Yeah.
They don't even have to have the MVP. You don't give a fuck. Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess in that regard, I guess Perk saying some stupid shit has made the MVP more important, I guess. So like I'll give him props on that for like making us even talk about this shit.
Yeah, we are talking about it. Yeah.
We are talking about it, which is like what the fuck? But like reasons why he's not the MVP or like why people don't want to vote for him. It's like he's fat, he's a white guy,
whatever.
He's never won a championship, right? He crumbles in the playoffs, so to speak, right? I'm just throwing this on him because he's never won a ring, and that's part of the argument of like they're trying to say that like another argument I've seen is that black players get more pressure on them like to win or whatever. And I will say that number one, the MVP is a regular season award. Like it's about most valuable in the regular season. That's why they vote on it before the playoffs even start. That's why Dirk had to accept it being eliminated from the playoffs, and it was like super embarrassing and shit. Like it's just the way it is. Just to
nitpick your point there, because I like to nitpick. They do know if I you could tell me if I'm wrong, but they do know when they pick the MVP, they do know whether or not your team made the playoffs, right? So the playoffs. So I think the season has ended and the playoffs have started. So they do. So if you played phenomenally on a team that didn't make the playoffs, that does go into the argument. So you can't necessarily say that it is a regular season award, but the status of your team making the playoffs or not will come into factor there, right?
Yeah, like the playoffs only matter as far as you making it, but what you do there doesn't matter. If we were going to talk about, like I literally just said on the last podcast that I can't even fucking take them seriously until they just get to the finals, because I'm tired of watching them kick ass all the way up to the playoffs and then lose. And that's not Jokic's fault, I feel. I think it's like their team. That being said, I think he's got the best chance that he's ever had this year. But people want to lump that into the argument when the award is a regular season award. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and that's why, and that's part of the reason why I don't really put much stock in it. I mean, if you, the only thing that I really care about is like how many times has the MVP gone on to win the MVP for the season gone on to win the chip. So that's when it really, because then you could say, well, if there's a big time correlation between player that wins MVP goes on to win the ring that same year, well, then you could say, okay, well, now I really want Jason Tatum to win it just to, because the universe rewards that or something. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I guess for Tatum personally, like I think as amazing as he is, that he is honestly suffering the most from this discussion, I feel, because he has a great case for MVP. He's also young. He might be the youngest guy in these talks. And so I think he'll have some MVPs ahead of him. Like, and I'm almost positive that Jokic is the MVP and that he's not going to get the MVP. But I do think that if things continue the way they are, that Tatum has an MVP or two ahead of him. Sure. But yeah, the whole thing is ridiculous. MVP has never fucking mattered. I think finals MVP is way more important than regular season MVP.
Agreed. Yeah.
You know, if I won regular season MVP, would I be flexing on that like at the supermarket and at Thanksgiving? And like
I would dangle the MVP trophy with 2 fingers in a club.
Exactly. Yeah. Hell yeah. Like that'd be awesome. But like as fans, this might be the most anyone's ever gave a shit about this.
About the MVP award?
I think so. And I think it's because race got thrown into it when it's not about that at all. You know what I mean? And like,
which is why, and that's why we're talking about it, because somebody had to throw race into it for whatever reason. And especially since like everybody's kind of jokingly calling this the year of the white boy because of what Mac did in the All-Star game and all that stuff. And it's like,
oh, whatever, man.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You would think based on that talk that it's just like white dominance or whatever.
Yeah,
you know
it's not. Like, we all know that it's not. Yeah.
Like we all know that that's not true. Like there's like 3 white MVPs. Like what, you know what I mean? Like there's like 20 bajillion non-white MVPs. And so, I mean, it's just stupid, man. So I guess Perk kind of wins, like ESPN and Kendrick Perkins wins. Yeah, because they have made us
say that ESPN wins. Don't say Kendrick Perkins wins, but ESPN wins because they're a big business conglomerate, and of course they made a decision to put somebody on TV who says dumb things. And way to go, Disney! You did it again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Side note, just because I was curious, only 6 players in NBA history have managed to get both the MVP and NBA championship in the same season. So
interesting. All right.
Yeah. So what that tells me is the basketball gods will give you one thing, but not the other, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
It's very tough. Yeah. And by the way, these names are like, they're huge. They're big time, top 75 greatest players ever names. So yeah. Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, Wilt, Hakeem, stuff like that. So Shaq, obviously.
That being said, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, we've kind of ran kind of longer. I didn't think we would talk as much as we did about that stuff.
No, it was good though. Like it was good. Yeah.
I guess let me get like 2 or 3 minutes out of just like the New York Knicks, man. Fuck, man. What the fuck? I'm a Heat fan. You're a Celtics fan. Yes. Sometimes we're just in different worlds. You know what I mean? Like largely for this season, we have been like the Heat have been having a terrible year. We're talking about play-in type shit. Like we're trying to get out of the play-in. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Celtics are talking about MVPs and number 1 seeds and shit.
And then the ring. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, yet here we are. We can't beat the Knicks, man. What's going on with the Knicks?
Okay, well, in our defense, they've been on a tear. They've been on a tear recently. They won 10 in a row. So okay, let's 9. 9. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I should clarify. We'll get to that potential 10th win. But like, yeah, they won 9 in a row. So they're on a little bit of a tear. It doesn't mean they're like the best team in the NBA, but they're still like a middling average sort of NBA playoff team, right? They're like a 4th or 5th type seed, right? So losing to them sucks. and there's this thing where like the Knicks should be like, they've been so bad in like recent years
for like 2 to 3 decades.
Basically, yeah, they haven't. They haven't even won a championship in 50 years. This is the 50th anniversary of their last championship. Wow. So they've been pretty futile, I guess you could say, even though the 90s were a great decade for them. But yeah, we've been so used to for a while now them just being a bad team that tanks for draft picks and is always in talks to sign Durant or Wade or some big free agent or Anthony Davis or something like that. And then they just kind of, they bottom out and whatever, and they're just garbage, But now they're like good. They're like really good.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaking
the win they had against
loss, man.
The win they had against you guys was kind of lucky. That's just like that's even more heartbreaking. Yeah,
it was so fucking crazy, man. Because on Heat Twitter, there's this dude, Chef Trilly. Shout out. I don't always agree with him, and I don't understand how he rose to be who he is. But he is like probably like the poster child of Heat Twitter fan. You know what I mean? Like he is known to be he's famous for just being a Heat fan on Twitter, like more so than any other person. And that day I was fucking mad at him because he started the day with tweeting out like nostalgic things about the rivalry, which I love. Like, I actually do like when the Knicks are good, at least kind of like how they are now, because it becomes relevant. And I think it's because my childhood, we had this intense rivalry. Like, you have the iconic 90s. You have like the iconic memories of like Jeff Van Gundy grasping onto Alonzo Mourning's leg, like in the middle of a fight of all the players, like this melee.
My most iconic memory from that rivalry was I was just kind of like, I had like a Heat Knicks playoff game on in the background, a very crucial playoff game. You'll remember this. And then Allen Houston like put on, I just had it on in the background. I was kind of paying, and Allen Houston hit that game winner. It like bounced off the rim and then like kind of had that shooter's touch and it came down and went in.
The floater.
And I was like, did I just see what I just saw? And that's when I think they were the 8th seed and they
beat us. We were number one.
Yeah. That's when they went to the finals against the Spurs. But and I was like, did I just see did I just see that happen?
That was the first, like, that was the first time that I learned as a child that my enjoyment of basketball could hurt.
Yeah,
like,
you're feeling
like,
exactly.
I was like, what?
It stinks.
Like, I was like standing there in shock. I don't even think I watched them again for like a year or two later. Like, I had to get older after that because it hurt so bad. And that dude, Chef Trilly, he was tweeting that day like iconic moments of the rivalry, including that one. And then as the game went on, he was like, "Oh, this is fucked up. Like, who's going to be the Allen Houston of this game?" And like right after he did that, right after he said that, fucking the Randall shot happened, which was just incredible. Like, Jimmy poked the ball away twice. With the second one being like, that should have ended the possession, and it took like the weirdest bounce I've ever seen.
His foot.
Off his foot, right back into his hands, allowing him to do what he was doing, which, to be fair, he's fucking balling. Like, I got no problems with him. He's an awesome basketball player.
Quickly, too.
Quickly, amazing. And that fucking pissed me off, though, especially because the last time we talked, I was adamant about like, we have to beat them, like, this is very important. Then they go on to have that double overtime victory against the Celtics, and they have yet to lose they're undefeated against the Heat and the Celtics. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're like Free Ballers podcast enemy number one. Like,
it's funny. I normally get butterflies in my stomach when like the Celtics play the Heat. I'm just like, it's just a weird sort of like, I'm just like, God, please fucking beat them. You know what I mean? It's a completely irrational, thing where I'm just like, God, please beat them. Just please. Cause Jimmy is just his face, whatever. I won't get into it, but like now the Knicks I'm like, just stop. This isn't you.
Yeah, why are they trying to get into this? This is not between. This is between us, man.
Yeah, this is between us. And they're trying to like jump in. trying to jump in to like, I'm like, whoa, excuse, bro, back up. Like, nobody invited you to this fight. All right.
Yeah, man. No, but I guess, shout outs to them, like for becoming relevant again. And, I'm very happy to see, like, tonight. I was hoping that for the Heat's sake, I was hoping Brooklyn would lose and New York would lose. Right. And at least New York did lose. Like
the CLT Hornets.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I don't know who, like, what marketing team. By the way, side note, I don't know what marketing team let those jerseys go like that. I'm like, what the hell were you thinking? But anyways.
yeah, come on, man.
Like CHA would have been, CHA is right there and would have been way easier. I don't know why you didn't do that, but whatever.
They did that shit on purpose, man.
Yeah, they totally did that shit on purpose. Anyways.
Yeah. So they lost to the Clits. Yeah, rightfully so.
I like how you said that, like, finally New York is the Knicks are finally not being irrelevant. Like, it's fucking New York City, man. Like, they're most of them are
just, true.
Yeah, that's like it's considered the greatest city in America and all this shit.
Yeah,
like, come on.
They sell out games and sell the merchandise, even though they've been like abysmal my entire life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was happy to see them lose tonight, but I do think that they have put themselves on the map. You know what I mean? Like, for example, we don't, on this show, in the history of this show, we don't really talk too much about the Pistons, the Wizards, the Magic, the Timberwolves, maybe a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, the Thunder. Like, there's some teams that we just don't talk about that much, and it's because they're just not doing anything.
They're not doing anything. Yeah.
And if all of the teams I just named, we've talked about more than the Knicks.
It's true.
Now here we are. And here we are.
It's true.
So if I was a Knicks fan, I'm fucking going crazy right now. Like,
I'm
passionate.
I'd be, if I'm a Knicks fan, obviously, you're crazy excited right now. I mean, your team
so happy to lose to the Clits tonight.
When you, I mean, New York residents have been losing to Clits most of their life, anyways. But anyways, but like, I don't know what that joke means. But like,
I don't know neither, really. But it was
like they just can't seem to find it. I don't know, whatever, something like that. But like,
they do have like a good traffic, like the grid, like the street system. I think they probably find it, but who knows?
Okay.
They couldn't find it tonight. All right, maybe they did find it, and that's what happened.
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel sorry for New York, really. I'm just like, whatever. Like, when they lose, they lose. I'm like, okay, fine. It's New York. It's like considered the greatest. They have such an ego to them. I just don't really care. So yeah,
it's like unfounded. It's like win some shit. Like, I don't know. It would be weird to me if like we only celebrated like the arena my team played in, and not that we're good.
Exactly.
But I guess to them, and whatever, it's each.
Well, they're like the Knicks are the epitome, or they're the embodiment of that meme. That meme that always goes around where the guy is in third place, but he's spraying the champagne in his own face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the Knicks, basically. Yeah. So they're like, we're New York's team, but like you're like in third place. So yeah.
Well, I mean, good luck to y'all Knicks fans.
Yeah,
like
it's not easy winning 9 in a row.
If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be very happy. This is an exciting time. I think it's good for the game, but that doesn't mean I have to support y'all. Fuck
Absolutely
y'all.
not.
Oh my God.
Absolutely not.
And I hope that y'all keep this up, so I can continue to hate on you guys. Like, because you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel fun to like punch down. Then you're just a bully. So like,
but it's New York, so you're punching up.
That's true. I guess because it's New York, but in the NBA terms, it's punching down.
It's like punching down. Yeah.
Like, let them have their thing.
I hope they keep it up so that when they lose in like the first round, which they inevitably will, it'll be that much more sweet to be like, wow, how did a team that went on a great a 9-game win streak lose in the first round? That's
so
why I want
cute and fun and good.
Yeah. Oh man, this started out like dramatic and turned salty.
It's true. We're a bunch of fucking assholes. And that being
Whatever.
said, we're just,
Twitter did this to me.
Yeah, it's true. We're just floating on a breeze and just balling free. And we hope you guys all are too.
I don't know the rest of the words to that song.
Just sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah, that's the title. Damn it. How do I not know that? Yeah.
Just hating on the Knicks.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. All right, free ballers. If you're a Knicks fan, you probably didn't enjoy this. Love y'all.
Hey, free ballers. Doesn't matter what team you're a fan of. I love you.
Hell yeah.
Alex doesn't. I love you.
No, I don't know why you guys are listening to this shit.
I do. For Hot Celtics takes.